Action.
Yes. Hi, I'm Ka.
And I'm Mel.
And this is
Chameleon. Welcome, everyone. Today we have a super interesting topic that is relevant to the month that we're in as well. Would you like to tell us what it is?
Yay. Let's demystify the New Year's resolutions.
Let's give a quick definition of what we found on Google. New Year's resolution is a tradition most common in the Western world, but also found in the Eastern world, in which a person resolves to continue good practices, change an undesired trait or behavior, accomplish a personal goal, or otherwise improve their behavior at the beginning of a calendar year. So I think what it means is people want to do good in their life for their own good. We're not talking about volunteering or charity, right? They just want to improve their behavior and attitudes.
Yeah. They want to feel good. They want to feel like they're a good person and be happy. The end goal is probably being happy, right?
Exactly. And for some reason as well, we follow a calendar that says January is the first month.
Yeah.
And December is the last. So the first day of the first month feels like a Monday. And it feels like a great time for beginnings and to set resolutions, which, is it another word for goals?
Oh, yeah, definitely. A resolution is just, right? Yeah. It is. It's just a goal that is a bit, that happened at the beginning of the year.
Exactly. And it makes us feel like we are changing and we're ready to adopt a new behavior. But we found some data for you guys about resolutions.
You're not going to be surprised, but you might be disappointed. That 64% of New Year's resolutions are abandoned within the first month.
That's madness. So within the first month, more than half of the people already abandoned their resolutions. Yeah. And I think we don't even need to see the statistic to see it in action around us.
Yeah, you know it.
If you go to the gym, you do see January being the month where a lot more people come to the same gym as you, and progressively the classes or the lifting area, the cardio area get less and less busy because people just stop coming.
Yeah, and you see it a lot in terms of marketing as well, right? Because obviously people know that beginning January thing is going to sell a lot. So full on December, right after Christmas, you're going to start seeing a million ads about New Year, New You, New Year, gym membership, New Year, new diet, New Year. Like, it's a known fact.
Marketers' jobs have been quite easy, actually, in the past few years, looking at January as being the year of beginnings, buying new things that are going to help you adopt this fresh identity that you're going for. But the way we're talking about it is making me segue into New Year's resolutions is an illusion of a fresh start, just like Monday is, just like when you're studying and you tell yourself you'll start studying at 11, but it's 11:10. You decide to wait till 11:30 because 11:10 is not quite 11, so you want another start point.
Yeah.
And you create these illusions for yourself to change your perception of when it's fresh, I'll do it better.
Yeah.
But it's not true, right? They're often tied to the idea of a fresh start, but not the reality of what a fresh start is. Because a fresh start can be now.
Yeah.
Because I decided it's a fresh start. Why do you think we don't adopt that mindset?
I would see like 3 reasons why it didn't work. I'm not saying it doesn't work. Let's put this at the past tense. One thing that you might notice with people around you or with yourself is if that resolution you're setting is one that you've already set in the past. Like if it's something that is repeated and you've failed, I don't really like this word, but you didn't succeed to do this the first time around, your brain already has this, association of like, we did not manage to do this the first time around. What's different this time around? So I would say one way that it doesn't really work is when the goal is repeated exactly the same. And another reason is when the goal is too broad. So if it's really vague, as in this year I want to be healthier, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean for yourself? Like, what does healthy means for yourself? And it actually takes, if you want a resolution or any goal to actually happen and to do it, you need to take at least a minute for yourself and just be like, okay, what does this mean to me? And etc. So being too broad won't help, because for yourself, if you don't put that clarity around what it means, then you can be as vague as you want throughout the whole year and it won't mean anything. And the last one is when it's too unrealistic. Like, this is not the time to think too big. I know it may seem odd to think about it this way, but it's really not the time to think too big, because that's where it backfires so much. It's good to have ambition and motivation and drive, but by thinking too big, you might set something that you won't reach. And by not reaching it, your brain is going to be like, oh, we failed again. And it's just really, really, it's too damaging for your self-esteem. So,
can we use a realistic goal? People saying they want to lose weight in the new year, or I want to go to the gym more often. How do you make that a better resolution? Because essentially we said this is not the time to think big. And most resolutions feel like they have to be big. They have to be life-changing. Next year, I will finally have the physique of my dreams and I will be the rich person that I set out to be. And at the same time, I'm going to travel and make a ton of friends, but also I want to get my motorcycle license and bungee jump and do all of this. You want that experience for yourself, and it sounds exciting to reach those goals. How do I know what is realistic and what isn't? And how do I know this is what I want and what I'm motivated to achieve? Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation are such interesting topics for me to look at, often because I really like looking at what entices people in general. And I can often tell when I look at when they work on something that's intrinsically rewarding for them, they tend to do it much more passionately. And those things are...
But what is it? What are those words? Intrinsic, extrinsic. What does it mean?
Intrinsic motivations bring you inner joy, inner happiness. That little spark in you gets activated. Extrinsic motivation are things like money, car, rewards.
Oh, so internal, external.
External.
Okay.
We are obviously motivated by both things, but intrinsic motivation really comes from intellectual stimulation, trying new activities, challenging yourself. And it's really hard to cultivate if you're not self-aware, or really hard to understand how to activate that motivation if you don't know already what brings you inner spark, inner joy, and makes you do things. It's a bit like your purpose, your why. Who is Karen? What makes Karen Karen? Extrinsic is a little bit, everyone has extrinsic motivation to make your ends meet, to have good shelter, try new like foods and luxuries. And it's not one is good and one is bad. It's just easier to pinpoint the extrinsic motivation because it's more tangible, or it can be seen and acquired.
Yeah.
But what I want to go with that is why resolutions fail. It's often because they're based on what people think they should be doing, but not what they truly want to do.
Yes.
And by cultivating that intrinsic motivation, you'll truly know what you want to do. And then the goals seem more realistic, more smart. It's an acronym. Yeah. It's not SMART as an intelligent goal.
Yeah, this is what happens so much, right? You go back to the office on the 2nd or 3rd of Jan, and it's like, it can be a topic between colleagues, like, oh, what are your New Year's resolution? And what is this? And there's this whole social pressure of like, oh, I need to have a big one. do you think you want to do this, or you think you should do it? Oh, this year I'm going to drink 2 liters of water per day because I really should drink more water. Why? Because is it because your skin is dry? Is it because you've noticed that you really have, poor circulation? Or is it like, why do you want to drink more water?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just because you've seen on an ad, or you've seen one of your celebrity that you really like says that she or he drinks a lot of water?
And most of these categories fall in the extrinsic because they're not fully justified for you, purely for you. They're justified because of inspiration from others, or inspiration for becoming a certain person, or embodying the behavior of people that were inspired and admire, which is, again, great for you. Like, if you do that, it's going to help you. You're going to be better. What we want to encourage with this podcast and in life in general is to tapping into a little bit that internal you that will benefit from all these goals, all these beautiful stories and visualizations that you have for yourself, and making it stick.
Yeah, making it happen and enjoy it. Like, we're going to talk about it down the line. Well, actually, I can ask you now, what are 3 ways that we can, shift this outcome of that New Year's resolution goal falling down the drain again? What are 3 things that we can do to actually not see this happen in 2024? I mean, next year.
And I'll start by saying I've failed many resolutions. Because if you see it as a success and failure, it's really easy to put failure across all of mine. Mm-hmm. Because for me, it's never about achieving a certain goal. It's about progressing and about seeing some form of movement in those goals, and trusting that there's a process in place, that there's a journey that I'm going on, and not blaming myself for the very little instances where it doesn't go really quite as planned, right? We often give up or stop when we just taste 1% of the achievement of the goal. Like, I would like to get fitter this year by attending more yoga classes. Wow, I'm fitter. I can do this posture. I don't need to continue this year.
Yes.
That's absolutely not the mindset that will get
so
you
much
to that fitter goal. And that's the type of goal I'd rather set for myself, that are more positive words, that are more expansive than reduce me. So if I say I want to lose weight this year, it is too vague for me to understand how that benefits me.
And it sounds negative. It's losing something as well, like the power of linguistic. So would you say one of those reason is like one of those ways is already talk positively to yourself? Talk
positively. Do not focus on the negative, focus on the positive, on expansion, abundance. These type of words, your brain registers them, whether you like it or not. What you consume, what you tell yourself, what you write, what you read. If they are negative, you will use negative words in your conversations with yourself, in your resolutions. So frequently focus on not what you want to stop or change, but focus on what you want to add a positive spin to in your life.
Yes.
I want to try to look at relationships, for example.
Okay.
Because I feel like we often, when relationships are on rocky ground and we're not sure how to rectify a fight we've had, or our relationship isn't as strong as it is before, it's really hard to put a positive spin to that. And most people listening might be like, challenge, for you guys, put a positive spin on my relationship not going so well. What can I set as a resolution or goal to work on my relationship? It might be, we have fights all the time, we don't know how to communicate. I want to stop having fights. That's my goal.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think one thing to rephrase this, or to put it more positively, is it depends what type of relationship, right? It can be, I don't know if it's a couple or not, but it could be, I want to, once a day, I want to compliment my partner. Or once a month, I want to cook something specific for my partner. Or just, I think by focusing on what you love, like there is also that technique of like write 9 things you absolutely love about this friend or this person. And by cultivating what you adore, what you love, even in life, even about yourself, then you will see more and more of it and focus on why in the first place are you friend with that person? Why are you in the first place in a couple with this person, you know?
This is exactly what I wanted to get to. For anyone listening, if you have a resolution that includes a negative word or behavior you want to stop or reduce, ask why. That's it. Why? Why do I want to stop smoking?
Yes.
Why do I want to stop fighting with my partner? Because I love them and because I want us to be good like we used to be. What does that mean? What are the goods? Look at all these little instances that you and your partner, not just you, because a couple is two people, label as good. And it's just one question and one trigger word and a little bit of work from you to write it down. Why?
Why? Yes, Simon Sinek, why? Look
Exactly.
it up.
Know your why. And I think I would like to end the how do you shift this outcome with the why, which will lead us potentially to another open discussion I want to have around what happens if I can't be perfect. I can't do this every day. I have days where my hormones are out of whack. And for a lot of ladies listening and male, right? Everyone is different. Everyone's day to day is different from one another. Completely. Me and you, me and my partner. You will have very different biological things happening that affect your mental. Your brain isn't just this standalone computer.
And you can't control everything. If one of your goals was, I really want to achieve this in that project at work to then put myself forward for that promotion or anything, and then you did all of that, and you know you can pat yourself in the back, you did well, but then the company goes bankrupt, something happened, or there is no more budget, you can't get that promotion, then this wasn't a failure. Because if you focus your resolution like, oh, I want to do this, pull my weight on that thing to make it happen, if it doesn't happen, it's out of your control. I always think if it's out of my control, there is no time, there is no reason to waste time or energy on it. It's out of my control regardless. So
absolutely.
In terms of if you can't reach it, so we've talked about obviously making your resolution not too broad, not too unrealistic, and obviously don't make a resolution of like, I want to run every day this year. If you never run, or if you run once a month at the moment, that's like, we would be calling this unrealistic. But if you've set something realistic and say, okay, I want to run 3 times a week, and you know you can do it, and you know it's done in a way that you know you have your shoes and you know where to go, and you feel safe to run where you want to run, and everything is done and it's realistic. And there is that week that you go only once or you don't go at all. This is not a fail. This is like also like understanding, like, hold on, last year or last month I didn't even go once a week. Mm-hmm. And now I've been once instead of 3 times. That's totally fine. And it doesn't mean next week I need to go 6 times. No one is keeping the scores, yeah? You are keeping the scores with yourself. So next week you'll go back 3 times, and that's totally fine. It's more about what's important is what you do next. Because too often, exactly like when you talk about fresh start, too often when we fall off the wagon, we're like, oh well, I failed now, so I might as well. Don't even finish the sentence. This I might as well not go back to it, wait until next week, wait until the next start. You can never fall down enough to just wait there. Like it's I don't know in English. In French we have this foutu pour foutu saying, which is absolutely a nightmare. It's like if you start using it, you know you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's just like that logic of like, oh well, I ate a burger now, so I might as well have the whole shebang, like whipped cream and all of this and Coke and everything for the rest of the week because I had something bad on Thursday evening. I mean, bad. Let's not label food.
Absolutely, and just to recontextualize all of that you've described. And you told me this before we started this podcast. A salad doesn't make you healthier,
Yeah.
and a burger doesn't make you unhealthy.
Yeah.
A meal is a meal. It's striking that balance and allowing yourself to indulge when need be and not change that indulgence that should be done mindfully into a binge, right?
Yeah.
It's striking the balance between those two and forgiving yourself for failing sometimes, because it's not going to record in any book as you failed your resolution. It's one instance in your freaking year.
Yeah.
Just thinking about in the grand scheme of things, and allow yourself wiggle room to be adaptive, to be flexible, to be forgiving, but also don't use that forgiveness for your
Excuses.
for your own excuses and for skipping the things that you know you want to be better at. And again, I hate to bring it to the why again, but ask yourself why. And when you're about to commit one of the things that you might see as a mistake, ask why. I really craved it. Fine.
Yeah.
Oh, I really craved it again though. Did you? Why? Ask again, because the behaviors that will chain after that one are often going to be guilt driven. I already feel guilty, might as well stack up.
And sometimes again it was external factor. Maybe it was sensorial marketing that made you smell that, hot bread, hot pastries. It could be other things, or people telling you so much about something that, and you're like, that was not planned. I came to work with my box, with pre-cooked that I cooked at home with my food. But these, people are like, oh, you should really, really go and have that takeaway with me. Like, oh, well, okay, that's a bit maybe peer pressure. But sometimes it's out of control. Maybe there was a lunch schedule at work and you have to go. Why are you going? That's fine. So I think it's just, keep that wiggling room. It's very important. You might see that after a whole month or 6 weeks or 2 months of doing a goal, even sometimes after a few weeks, you might notice, oh, actually, I think I want this goal to take more of this turn. Maybe I don't want to go 3 times running anymore. Maybe I want to do 2 times running and 2 times boxing classes. Stay flexible and just listen to what you want and adapt it. I've heard this sentence many times, but I like it a lot. And I think it's good for this episode is, would you rather be comfortable or happy? If you've picked your why and you know why you're doing what you're doing, let's say you wanted to cook at least 3 times a week a homemade meal. If you skip that and then you're going to go takeaway, that means you're going to touch that budget that you're budgeting for that holiday. And then you're kind of contradicting yourself, and you kind of sign that contract with yourself and you're saying, nah, scrap that. Actually, I don't want it. So that for that very, very short-term comfort of not going to your kitchen, and the time that you're waiting for the takeaway is the time you would have taken cooking anyway. But that small, short-term comfort, is it worth not being happy down the line to reach that goal that you've made? And if we talk about brain chemistry and stuff, what does it do to your brain when you reach a goal? Like when you do what you say you'll do?
Oof. All the happiness hormones, which we'll talk about.
That rewarding feeling, right?
I
said I would do it, and I'm doing it, and I did it, and I keep on doing it.
It's euphoric. But I do understand a lot of us are going through mental health issues or inability to really keep that self-discipline and motivation up. It's not easy. We don't expect anyone who's listening to wake up tomorrow and be superheroes and smash their goals. But we expect you to have maybe a different approach to them and look at them in a way that is self-serving.
Yeah.
Not serving others, serve yourself.
Pick
I want to do this?
Small that you care about.
100%. And just run with that.
Do you have an example of something small that you've picked one day and you sticked with it?
I wanted to learn a new language. I'm learning Italian. I want it to be A2 proficiency, which is beginner level good start and very easily measurable because I can take a proficiency test and say,
Yes.
I've made it. But how does that goal manifest in a day-to-day? Well, I use an app that sends me daily reminders / threats.
Yeah, I think we all know which app you're talking about.
Yes, don't need to tell you, you know. And
Very threatening app.
I go on it every day, and it forces me to do 2 minutes a day, which after doing it, I look at myself and I want to do more, and I've quite enjoyed it, and I learned a word. So it's very rewarding, and I know that I have reached that proficiency level, if not more. And I cannot wait to do the test this year before I set a new goal next year within the same, right? You can repeat the goal, but suddenly it's a different one because I've added a layer of difficulty and a layer of challenge. And that's what we want for everyone. What are you currently doing that you enjoy? Don't give it up. Add another layer of it.
Yes.
Do you do yoga? Do you want to try a handstand? Do it against the wall. But we can leave you with that. I'll hand over back to Karen. She always has some wise things to say.
I can do that. Yeah, one of my affirmation is actually really short and sweet. This one is I stop avoiding and I start producing, which really anchors with and echoes what we said around fresh start and not waiting for the right moment. It's like I stop now and I start now. No need for the next hour, the next half an hour, the next Monday. When I read that affirmation, I'm like, let's do it.
Nice. I love it. And for everyone listening, your fresh start can start as soon as now. Enjoy.